Hello and welcome to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich and our guest is Danilo Acosta, who is in the Focolare Movement, and he's also sharing his experience of having family connections to Bishop Ramiro. Welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. And before, in the previous program, you were talking about your father got helped by Bishop Ramiro, or Saint Bishop Ramiro now,
yes.
So that's just sort of recapping that. And also that you are involved as well in the Focolare Movement.
That's correct. That's correct.
Which is a worldwide Christian movement, which is also open to all people and Catholics alone as well. So I'll start by reading a part of February's Word of Life 2026, and then we'll get you to sort of talk a little bit about your own experience of self-discovery and your direction in your life.
Thank you. Yes.
So it starts with, "See, I am making all things new." This is the end of the Word of Life. How can we live this month's Word of Life? It assures us that we have embarked on the journey towards a new world, which we are preparing and building up even now. This is totally the opposite of the idea that Christians should not engage with the world, or worse, should flee from it. In fact, God wants to renew all things, our personal life, friendships, conjugal love, the family. He wants to renew life in society under every aspect: work, education, culture, entertainment, health, economics and politics. In short, God wants to transform every sector of life on earth. But to do so, he needs us. He needs people who allow his word to live in them. People who are his living word. People who are another Jesus in their own environment. Now, Danilo, you were talking about, this is kind of relating to you as well, because you were trying to find out what happened to you and why you felt anxious and why you felt this and that. And then you went on a discovery also with the Focolare, where you were taught to love Jesus forsaken, which for you was to surrender to Jesus. And then you felt that God led you on another path. Would you like to continue with your story?
Sure. Well, as I discussed last time, after my mom and my dad passed away, I also faced the prospect of losing my job as medical scientist at Peter MacCallum, and that led to possibly a major crisis in my life. Sometimes we can identify on what we do as a profession, and instead of examining who we are as a person. So for me, that led to a crisis, and maybe led to anxiety and perhaps some rounds of depression. And like I mentioned last time, when you have a scientist or medical scientist background, sometimes you feel that you can fix everything through science or medicine or through health practitioners, and that was the route that I took. And I practically tried everything under the sun: acupuncture, physiotherapists, psychologists, and look, I have to agree that it did help me, but there was something missing in my life. There was still a major spiritual hole, and something was deeply missing. And like I said before, it was God missing. And in order to find God again, I felt like I had to undergo I had look at myself, and to look at who I am, because all this time I thought I was just like a medical scientist, I identified myself as that and nothing else, you know. And in order to discover God, I had to find my origins. So I started investigating, for example, the life of Ramiro, but not only Ramiro, but my dad's life and also my life. And just to give you an example, when I was, my family tells me that when I was 2 or 3, they say that when the war started, apparently my brother and myself were the first ones to feel the presence of the planes coming to detonate the bombs. And apparently my first word was bomba, which means bomb in Spanish. And I don't recall that, you know, but I feel that that's been ingrained into myself, and I grew up with that level of trauma, for example, and like many other people who are victims of war. So I had to understand all that, and through that process of understanding my origins and about my dad and Ramiro, I began to understand myself and also to surrender. And I say and say to God, look, God, this is thank you that I'm here, that you put me, that first of all, you got me into a better country like Australia, and you gave me all these things. And I understand now that all the suffering and all the suffering that the Salvadorian people went through, and all the suffering my family went through and Ramiro went through. But there's a reason why you've kept me here. And yes, I grew up with a level of anxiety, but that's part of the process. I think God gives you what you can handle, only what you can handle. And for some reason, He chose for me to learn the lessons of understanding and overcoming anxiety and depression, and
Yeah, well, we'll finish with it. We'll go to a break now, but we'll continue with your story and how you helped yourself after that.
All right.
You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Danilo Acosta, who's talking about his experience of bringing himself back close to God through trauma, growing up in war, and also having his father leave the family when he was very, very young. And also a lot of men, even in Australia as well, have had their fathers leave when they were very young, and they've grown up without their father as their role model, and it has made a huge hole in their hearts. And I know people that this has happened to. So it would be good for you to share your experience of growing up without your father in the picture, and how you managed to overcome that, and maybe some advice you can give to other men that are going through this now.
Yes.
Sure. Yes. So would you like to take it away?
Yeah. Look, like I mentioned before, obviously, abandonment. I feel abandoned throughout my life. But after I learned the story of my dad, I began to I forgave him as well, and I forgave myself. And again, that was part of the healing that you do. But in terms of the youth and young men, one thing I began to understand is that a lot of young men and men in general, we go through a lot of traumas, including abandonment, sometimes poverty, sometimes we go through family issues, and we struggle to talk about these things. And one of the things that happened when I put my trust in God, I felt that He took me to the right there were some guardian angels in my life that directed me to the right place, including this group that I've been all my life with, the Focolare, who's been a rock, a spiritual rock for me. But on top of that, I think God led me to another group, another Christian group that dealt with a lot of community events. They volunteered. They ran the food bank. They ran a lot of charity work. A lot of help in the general community. God directed me to there, and I think that taught me that men sometimes we are not an island. We need to embrace other men as well. We need a place where you feel safe, where you can communicate, where you can express your feelings. I feel that sometimes men in general, we struggle to express emotions and feelings, and we keep it, and we feel that we can fix it on our own. And again, going back to what I said before, not everything's about science and doing it yourself or medications. Sometimes the best healing is to find a positive and spiritual group that will support you, and people that you can be honest about your problems, that can offer solutions. And if there is an advice I would give my kids in the future, if they ever come up to me and say, "Dad, I've got some problems," first of all, I will offer my solutions, but I would always direct them to find a positive and spiritual group that can support them through difficult situations, in difficult times, where you will find not only emotional support, but good advice for the future. And again, one thing I've learned is that if you keep yourself consistent with God's teachings, with His what He wants us to do, He will guide you, and He will send you, direct you to the right place, but you have to trust in the process, and you gotta believe that is possible too.
That's right, because also part of the miracle, I think it also says it earlier on in this Word of Life, February Word of Life from the Focolare Movement, that the trust is one of the major parts that actually helps the miracle come. Like once we trust in God,
yes,
then we're open to the path that God opens for us.
Yes.
And that can be miraculous because you just can't imagine who you're going to meet, what direction you're going to go, and how it unfolds. But if you trust, that's when the beauty actually comes, doesn't it?
Yes, and can I just share, like for example, an experience that happened through this joining this men's group. I did notice that a lot of these men were in a much better place than they were, and I noticed one of the common things is that they were doing a lot of community. They were helping a lot in the community. So I decided to become a soccer coach. Yeah. And I tell you what, it was one of the best experiences in my life. Wow. I started coaching they call non-gamers, the 5-6 years old. Yeah. Perhaps I was the first coach they ever had, like the first coach. Yeah, of course. And I tell you what, one of the most healing things that I remember is that when I was going through like a difficult time, when a kid comes up to you and says, Danny, Coach Danny, you're the best. You're the best coach. I love your work, and is there anything I can help you with? And been the best coach. And you have no other choice but your heart to melt away. And I feel that is God. Yeah. And that is more priceless than any health practitioner, any psychologist, in my opinion. Yeah. It's real. It's real. And I feel that that's what God wants me to do. So that's beautiful, because that's what you learned as well from the men's group, that they all started to help out in community. Yes. They'd gone through their own suffering. Yes. They found support, and then they gave back to the community, which 100%. Is so beautiful. And the beauty is that once also you get better, you also want to help other people too. Yeah, that's it. And support one another. And and I feel like men in general, like we gotta, obviously, it's a confusing time at the moment with, with in terms of what is expected of us. But basically, if you put your trust in God and the teachings, you can't go wrong.
Beautiful. We have to go to a break now, but we'll continue with that.
Thank you.
You're watching Spirit of Life. I hope you're enjoying the program. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. Our guest is Danilo Acosta and we're talking about the message from February the 25th on the Word of Life, which is given by the Focolare Movement, and it's See, I'm Making All Things New. Welcome back to the program, Danilo. So I'll read the last section of that and I'll let you tell us your experience of it. So, see, I'm making all things new, which is Revelation 21:5. This is from the Word of Life. Alice, a young Christian, understood that following her vocation required her to make a profound change, to allow God to act fully in her life and make it new. In what she called an immense gift, she had the opportunity to live and experience in India. Then she experienced true joy and felt immersed in God's grace, even in difficult moments. She dedicated her days to prayer, community life, and volunteer service. The children in the orphanage touched her deeply because even though they had nothing materially, they showed incredible enthusiasm and taught her a lot about life. It was not just a trip, but a pilgrimage, a journey of ups and downs, where she had to empty her backpack, but found herself enriched and liberated. So would you like to tell us a little bit about your experience? It's like it's not always in the huge things, it's just in loving in the present moment. Then that can make us have history of good present moments all our life, if we keep doing that.
Absolutely. Look, I was really Focolare. I remember when I was young, we used to do a lot of activities. We had a lot of energy. We wanted to save the world, and we did a lot of fundraisers, and we helped a lot of people, and it was good, very satisfying, and it's one of the reasons why I decided to become a medical scientist, so that I can help people with to find cures for cancer or work in cancer. But as I understood in this journey that I've been through, sometimes we tend to overanalyze and overcomplicate things too much. And so I feel in terms of the Word of Life, I feel like if you listen to God, sometimes He wants us to go in a new direction. And sometimes you're not expected to do big things, but little things with love. Yeah. And I think that's the message that God is sending me. It's good, to focus on the big things and be aware, but also the little things. So I think the little things can make things grow.
Exactly, as Paul Kelly's sung, little things make big things grow.
And so that's what I'm focusing on at the moment, and I'm focusing on volunteering in soccer, and I've got a lot of passion there with, I'm working there with plants, especially tropical and indoor plants. Beautiful. And I propagate them, and I sell them, I work in it, and I get to meet a lot of people now that have some conditions, like even including cancer, and and sometimes I make some deliveries, and it just makes my heart sing, and the people that I speak to, I sympathize. I put Jesus there. I try to practice the principles that I've learned through the Focolare, through God, through the church, and through God, into practice, and be one with that person, and just do the best that I can. And sometimes that is all that is expected of us.
So true. I remember once asking Kevin Kelly, who was a long-time member of the Focolare movement. Many people in the Focolare in Australia know him. And I remember saying to him, how do you know what the will of God is? And he said to me, you know the will of God always is to love.
Wow.
So it's always to love. So, but it's individual for each person. It's to love in the present moment, in the moment that you're in.
Yes.
It's always calling us to love, either loving Jesus in your neighbour or loving Jesus forsaken if you forget that. Yes. And then it's constantly Jesus on the cross or Jesus in your neighbour. You just keep going and going. And Jesus in yourself as well. Like if you need to work on your own health, you've got to put your energy into working on your own health, because that's Jesus in you.
Yes, and look, we're not perfect. We all go through the same challenges as human beings, and we're all trying to find happiness in this world. But I think the key is to persevere as well, not to be hard on yourself as well, and to love, and to go like, maybe I failed this time, but I can start again.
Yeah.
And God, I find that God is it's a very forgiving, it's very forgiving, and that so long as you put your heart in the right place, and you put the trust in Him, He will guide you, and you'll find the way.
Yeah.
And
I remember once someone was saying, Chiara Lubick was saying, the founders of the Focolare, she was saying it's like one of those factory lines. Like, say, for example, there's a candle and it gets lit. You've got to keep putting the candle in, it gets lit. But if you go back and look back at your past, all these candles are going past that haven't been lit.
Yes.
So you've got to focus on the present moment and love in the present moment is the candle being lit right in front of you. That's what it is.
And yeah, absolutely. And I guess the one thing that I've noticed is too that my priorities have changed too. I think when I was a bit younger, or when as recent as 5 years ago, I guess, my career and making, I guess, money was probably at top of my list. I don't focus on that anymore. I think my priority is now, trying to help other people as much as I can, trying to help myself a bit, and also more community-based, and focus on spirituality, and the rest. You'll trust in God that
He'll provide.
To help you.
Yeah, beautiful. On that note, we have to finish the program. Thank you so much for coming, Danilo. It's been lovely having you here.
Thank you for having me. And
you're welcome.
Thank you.
You've been watching Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich, and our guest was Danilo Acosta. I hope you enjoyed the program, and may you feel God's love in you and in others. And don't forget to love yourself and love others in the present moment, and you're doing the will of God. Bye for now.
Bring it to birth and blow where you will. Blow, blow, blow till I be but breath of the Spirit.